Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to do a complete tour of the Islands neighborhood right here in Gilbert, Arizona. We're going to check out some of the sub-neighborhoods or sub-associations as they're called. We're going to look at some of the amenities. We're going to understand where the different parts of the neighborhood are and why you might want to choose one area over another depending on your situation. And we're going to talk about where the Islands is in comparison to everything else and why it's such a great area for so many people. Let's get into that video right now. All right, so now the Islands neighborhood, to give you some perspective on where it is in the Phoenix metro. So this little red dot here, this little area is the Islands neighborhood. Obviously, it's a massive neighborhood, but in the context of Phoenix, it's quite small. But give you some perspective here, it's about a 30-minute drive from the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. It's about 25 or 30 minutes from the Mesa Gateway Airport, which is down here in the Southeast Valley. Surrounding the Islands, you've got the 202 freeway, which is marked in black here. You have the 60 freeway, which runs east and west, which cuts right through here as the blue. And then right over here, you connect to the 101 freeway, which goes north and south up through Scottsdale. And then of course it wraps around and continues through North Phoenix and then comes back down through the Western Valley area of, Sun City, Peoria out here. That driving from here all the way around, that's probably about a 2-hour drive. Obviously Google Maps can tell us exactly. So now that you understand exactly where the Islands is, let's kind of zoom in here and get some perspective locally on where we're at. So from the Islands itself, you've obviously got some shopping centers, you've got groceries, we've got multiple restaurant areas, but you also have downtown Gilbert, which is a very short drive, basically 1.5 miles this way, or you have 2.5 miles to downtown Chandler. And both of those areas have really great family-friendly environments, parking garages. It's super easy to park, go out, lots of restaurants to choose from. There's live music. Yeah, it's just definitely both really fun areas to hang out in. But getting down into the Islands neighborhood itself, which is the nitty-gritty, you're researching this as a place to potentially live. Let's go ahead and check out the amenities. And by the way, this map that you see is going to be in the description below on this video. You can actually open this map yourself and tour it and, check out everything you want to see. So the Islands has multiple sub-associations or sub-neighborhoods. Some of these neighborhoods have additional HOA fees depending on whether or not they have additional amenities over and above just the standard amenities that residents of the Islands have access to. And so just to start there, everyone that lives in any of these areas all have access to the Islands Park, which is this main park here. It's actually a very large park. We're looking at, about 15 acres according to Google Maps here. And in the park, obviously, we have some really excellent walking paths. We've got horseshoe pit, you got sand volleyball, you got a basketball court, you got bocce ball, you've got large grass area. They do multiple events out here every year. One of my favorite events they do is the Easter, event, egg hunt for the kids. They have different age groups. Big event. They have, food trucks parked out here. Other times of the year, they also do like car shows where all these cars come out, park on the lawn. The Islands neighborhood is an extremely active HOA. Lots of events for the neighbors and neighborhood. It's a really tight-knit neighborhood, actually. There's a really great Facebook group that you can check out, and all the neighbors usually, communicate through that unless they're communicating directly, through text message, like, with their immediate next door neighbors. But as a community, definitely the Islands has a lot to offer in that sense. Playgrounds, they have an office here where they have their meetings, but you can also rent for birthdays or graduations, things like that. There's a dock here that's accessible to anybody else that has a boat. And so if you do have a waterfront property, obviously you can have a boat at your place, but we do have boat launches. There's one here and there's one here on this lake. Actually, there's three boat launches on Lake 3, which is the southern lake. You have the middle lake, which is called Lake 2. There's a boat launch here and a boat launch here. And then as you go north onto lake number 1, boat launch here. I think it's just the single boat launch. Maybe there's a second location. In any case, but there's definitely a way to get your boat in and out if it needs to be serviced or parked or something like that. Obviously, living here in the Phoenix Valley, there is no winter season where you have to winterize your boat, things like that people up north might have to do. So knowing which HOA neighborhoods have additional fees for additional amenities, you can kind of just zoom in and see which of these actually have additional amenities. And so the way this is laid out, you have Islands amenities, which are, so all of the amenities that are appearing now, these are open to all residents. So you got the fountain, which is great for photos and things like that up on the North Lake. Of course, you have an elementary school right in the neighborhood, Islands Elementary. The high school, you got Mesquite High School right next door here. And then of course there's a charter school for kids, Legacy Charter Schools, that's right here. Obviously you have to apply to get in, but it is a public school. It's paid for with public dollars, but there's a whole process getting involved with that. If you have questions about the schools in the area, definitely reach out to us. We'll walk you through exactly what to know or expect depending on what areas you want to live in. Chandler School District is next door, and then this is all Gilbert, obviously. So the line is literally right here, whether you're in Chandler or Gilbert. Both school districts are great. Chandler actually is considered the #1 school district for student athletics, and I think they're 1 or 2 on academics as well. But there's the school system in the East Valley and in Arizona in general is a little bit more complex and nuanced than you might know from other areas of the country. But yeah, as you're researching and looking at different neighborhoods using this map, obviously we went through everything here. We can actually go ahead and uncheck these amenities. Now we just have the sub neighborhoods. You got Harbor Cove and Paradise Cove. The Falls. The Falls is probably the most exclusive neighborhood of all of the islands. It's got a guardhouse. It's gated streets. There's pool. There's multiple other amenities. And actually we can click here, and now you can see all of the sub neighborhood amenities. So like for example, the Falls, which we're talking about right now, the main additional amenities that you'll have, and let's actually switch up the map to look at satellite view so you can see a little bit better. You have a gatehouse entrance. You have a clubhouse and a community swimming pool, right? So this is all exclusively to the residents of the Falls. And if we want to scroll down over here, different parts, you have Paradise Cove is also one of the other gated neighborhoods. Most of the islands is not gated, just so you know. There are a couple of small neighborhoods where you can have a gated entrance. Paradise Cove and the Falls are 2 of those. So you have gated entrance here. You've got a private park and a picnic area, which, yeah, the main amenity though for Paradise Cove is definitely that it's gated. And then you have, of course, Harbor Cove to the south, and the 2 main amenities here is a community pool. You have a nice walking trail that goes around, so you can take the dogs for a nice walk. And then, of course, you have your own private park right inside your own sub-neighborhood or sub-association. Bayview 2, you've got, again, a community swimming pool, playground, walking paths, and a park that you can hang out at. As we scroll around, you can kind of see some of these neighborhoods, like Harbor Estates and Windhaven 2. They don't have any additional amenities. They also don't have any additional HOA fees. So these guys are exclusively only on the primary HOA, which again gives you access to the island's park and everything that it has to offer there, which we talked about a second ago. But as you scroll around, you got Windhaven 3. This is the only neighborhood in the islands that has its own tennis court. You can see that here. Of course, they got some really excellent walking paths, and so you can cruise around the neighborhood, especially for those morning walks. It's nice to have that right in your own backyard, so you don't have to get in the car and drive somewhere to do that. And again, as you cruise around, there's different neighborhoods offering different things. You got a playground in Murata. You got a swimming pool and your own private park here in Costain. Here in this neighborhood, which is Laguna Shores, you've got, again, a private swimming pool for the community and a clubhouse. Charter Point has its own community swimming pool. And keep in mind, again, these swimming pools are available only to the residents of that exclusive set neighborhood. So it's not going to be super crowded, and which is kind of nice for that. Again, a pool here. As we get around over here, though, and you're checking out some of these other neighborhoods, you've got townhouses up here. So you have Coral Reef Townhomes. They do have their own public swimming pool, private swimming pool for the residents. But the HOA fees here also include lawn maintenance, painting, roof maintenance. There's a lot more that goes into the islands specifically in these areas, which we can get into detail if this is something that's going to be interesting to you. And of course, up here, you have, again, another swimming pool. You have a clubhouse for that neighborhood. If you're looking for a much larger home and you want to have a beautiful waterfront property with the large square footage, you're going to be right here, Trace Vistas. These homes are your gargantuan. Most of them have their own swimming pools at their own house. This is definitely that part of the islands where you're going to have those, those privately owned amenities right on your own property rather than the community amenities that others are using. The Shores is also a great neighborhood. It's large. It contains all 5 of these peninsulas that jet out into the lake. And this is, of course, the North Lake number 1. In any case, that should give you a pretty good idea and overview of where you're at. And like I said, the best thing you can do is give us a call, shoot us an email, send a text message. We can sit down with you on a one-on-one call over Zoom. Or if you want to just click the description below in the video, you can access this map yourself and tour around and really get a good sense for all the different neighborhoods that are in the islands, where the waterfront properties are, where they're not. Of course, on these houses are waterfront. None of these are, but you do have the additional hiking and walking trails and things like that. So there's pros and cons to everywhere, and that goes for anywhere in the Phoenix Valley itself. And if you're looking for waterfront property, and that's what attracts you to the islands, just know that we also have access to show you all about Val Vista Lakes, which is also in Gilbert. It's a similar neighborhood to the islands in the sense that you have multiple lakes and multiple different little neighborhoods the same way. Another great area if you're looking for waterfront property is down here in South Chandler. You've got Ocotillo. This is the Ocotillo Golf Club, and you have water features everywhere on here. So if you're looking for a waterfront property property, not only on the golf course, but with the waterfront. This is where you're going to find that. Also, these houses are a lot newer than the islands. And then another area, of course, you can explore. These are the Sun Lakes. We have a separate video that walks you through the Sun Lakes Country Club, and it's 5 separate neighborhoods, which also have a lot of waterfront type property. These are all for active adult communities, meaning that typically you have to be 55 or older to live in those neighborhoods. Great spots. Another spot you might want to check out. This is older than the islands, but this is called the Lakes in Tempe. Again, we have a separate video you can explore the Lakes neighborhood with, but lots of waterfront properties going through here. Plus, one cool thing about the Lakes is that you have Pier 54 and Lido. So these are 2 restaurant and bars that are on the water, and you can sit and hang out. Pier 54 is a tiny little spot. It's mostly outdoors, but yeah, it's definitely a great view. Sunsets are just incredible. Awesome spot to hang out. You can watch the boats cruise around. The boats actually go underneath this bridge and cruise around here. But yeah, getting back to the islands, definitely a great neighborhood, tight knit. If you see the ideal home pop up for you, you want to give us a call right away, because the reality is homes don't come on the market very often in the islands. And when they do, they sell very, very quickly. I mean, for the most part, when you see a property in this area, there's a low turnover. Like I said, they don't come on the market very often. It's a tight knit neighborhood. It's a very desirable neighborhood. So that said, give us a call in advance. We might know of somebody that's looking to get their property sold before they list it for sale. And that gives you a huge advantage when it comes to finding that ideal property. Again, call, email, text us, days, nights, weekends. We've got your back when moving here to the Islands neighborhood in Gilbert, Arizona. Until the next video, guys, I will catch you on the next one.